everyone! This week we celebrate the second week of Ordinary Time, which is a green week. Green is for growing, as we are growing in our knowledge of Jesus' life and teachings. This week's Gospel is from the Gospel of John. John was standing with two of his disciples as he watched Jesus walk by, and he said, "Behold, the Lamb of God." The two disciples heard what he said and followed Jesus. Jesus turned and saw them following him and said to them, "What are you looking for?" They said to him, "Rabbi," which translated means teacher, "where are you staying?" He said to them, "Come and you will see." So they went and saw where Jesus was staying, and they stayed with him that day. It was about 4 p.m. Andrew, the brother of Simon Peter, was one of the two who heard John and followed Jesus. He first found his own brother Simon and told him, "We have found the Messiah," which is translated Christ. Then he brought him to Jesus. Jesus looked at him and said, "You are Simon, the son of John. You will be called Cephas," which is translated Peter. This week's Gospel starts with John the Baptist, who baptized Jesus in last week's Gospel. John the Baptist was standing with two of his disciples when Jesus walked by. John told the disciples that Jesus was the Lamb of God. Lambs are gentle and obedient and ultimately live their lives for others. For example, to let their wool become someone's sweater. Lambs also reminded God's people of when they became free in Egypt, how they had a final meal before they were freed. So by John saying Jesus was the Lamb of God, he was telling the disciples that Jesus was following God completely and giving up his life for others so they could find freedom. No wonder his disciples wanted to follow him. When Jesus saw John's disciples following him, he asked them what they were looking for. They wanted to know where he was staying so they could stay with them. Have you ever taken the time to stay with Jesus? To spend time just being with him? One of the disciples named Andrew had a brother named Simon. After being with Jesus, Andrew was so amazed by Jesus that he went to bring his brother Simon to meet him. He told Simon that Jesus was the Messiah, which means he was the person sent to bring God's people into freedom. He was that excited about Jesus. Wow, I wonder what they talked about when they were staying together. Are you that excited about Jesus that you would want to tell others? When Simon met Jesus, something interesting happened. Jesus told Simon that he would be called the Rock, also known as Peter. So Peter would bring strength and stability to the people following Jesus. As we know from last year, Jesus also told Peter that he would have the keys to his kingdom, which means he would be responsible for bringing others to God. Wow, what an interesting chain of events. Last week, John baptized Jesus, and at that time, a voice from heaven told everyone that Jesus was God's beloved Son. Then this week, when Jesus was walking by, John told his disciples that Jesus was the Lamb of God who would lead others to freedom. Then after following Jesus, Andrew brought his brother Simon, whom Jesus said he would be a rock. Just think how important each piece of the chain was. If John wasn't baptizing Jesus, he would not have heard the voice of God. So he wouldn't know how important Jesus was. And if John didn't tell his disciples, they wouldn't have followed Jesus. And if Andrew didn't tell his brother Simon Peter, we wouldn't have the rock building up Jesus' followers. And if we didn't have Simon Peter, we wouldn't have the church we know today. What role could you imagine yourself playing in the story? Would you be like John, telling others how important Jesus was? Would you be like John's disciples, who would follow Jesus and stay with him? Would you be like Andrew, who brought his brother along? Would you be like Simon Peter, surprised to hear Jesus tell you how important you would be in bringing others to Jesus?